Thank you for coming. I think it's been a long time since we had such a big crowd. I'm Kay Chin. I'm one of the co-founders. Darren is the other co-founders. We have a few more co-founders, but they're not here, but it's okay. It's very heartening and encouraging that so many people turn up for something so boring. We were just talking among ourselves that I think in the past 20 years that I and some other people have been in the business, we never recall any such discussion about ethics, whether in the paper that I used to work or elsewhere. So it's usually when someone gets into trouble, someone is being exposed for setting up, and they say, wow, like, and then the interest will suddenly die down. But I think it's important that we talk about it. Today's session is recorded, not because ISD or what is interested, but because there are a lot of requests from people who are not able to be here. And also we want to be able to actually take this conversation beyond today, hopefully build maybe a microsite or something so that the conversation can continue. So that if you want to find out something about some ethical situation, you can maybe go to our website. Very ambitious, but we are always very ambitious. So it's recorded. So and we want to keep this dialogue very open, as in you will not be hearing us talking and you just sit there quietly and do nothing. At any one time you have a comment, a question, just raise your hand. But we also never end on time, but this time we will try to end on time. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to just run through how we're going to run this event today. After I introduce my co-moderator, Bryan, we will invite each of the panelists. There are 5 of them. Actually, there are 6. One of them have to work. This is the reality of working in the media. Chin Hon is the associate editor of Today. Today there's Parliament and City Harbour's stuff, so he's stuck in the So each of the panelists will briefly introduce themselves, and then within that 5 minutes and time given to them, they will also make a statement about ethics. So they can say, I hate people who set up pictures, they should be killed. Okay, right, things like that. Or they can talk about something that they are very concerned about. And then after that, we will pick up on one of the points, and that's when the conversation starts. We'll let them speak a bit first, and then anytime anybody want to talk, just raise your hand. Try and get one of us to notice, and we will. And also one request, if you can state your name and IC number. just state your name, and so that in case we need to come back to you for clarifications. We do take this very seriously. We have people who have volunteered to transcribe for us. People who are helping us film and record. Thank you very much first. Okay, so my co-moderator today is Bryan. He's going to introduce himself.
Oh, really?
Yes. Short one.
I'm Bryan. I don't do as much journalism now as I used to, but I started off my career as a photojournalist at newspapers and doing documentary photography. Over time, I've kind of moved more into commercial, but I still do some editorial work. I'm also the workshop director for Shooting Home here. So every year during Shooting Home, which is our in-house workshop, where we get aspiring photographers who want to do it professionally, they'll come in and we'll always end up talking about ethics in some way from other, because it's very easy to go out and take pictures and subscribe meanings to things that if you don't check properly, it's not accurate, or the way you go about getting photographs may not necessarily be, I won't say the right way, but your approach to getting a photograph may alter the scene in some way or other. And so we're here today to kind of talk about the limits of what is too far, what is not far enough. I think one of the main things that we're going to go, and let me state from the start, that you're not going to leave here with answers. You're not going to come out here and say, I know this is right, this is wrong, because everybody has different ethical boundaries. Some people will feel that certain things are okay, and we'll run through scenarios later, and we'll see what you guys think. For some people, it's okay, what? Other people, it's just, how could you do such a thing? Having worked in both the US media and in Singapore, it's very interesting to see the level of tolerance that is allowed over there versus here. Of course, it's more tolerant here, setting up stuff and that kind of thing. But we will go into all this stuff later. Let me introduce the first panelist. Maye is with the. Yeah.
She'll introduce.
She's with the Associated Press.
Oh, hi. I thought you did a better job. Okay, I'm Maye-e, Wong Maye-e. I have been a photojournalist for 14 years. I started out my career for 3 years at the Straits Times, and then I moved on to work for the AP, which is a news organization headquartered in New York. And we have bureaus all over the world, and we have subscribers all over the world as well. So we are one of the biggest news agencies around, and our competitors are AFP and Reuters. And if you open the Straits Times, if you still don't know what the AP is, in a nutshell, if you open the Straits Times, you see a picture from overseas, and on the bottom right-hand corner, you see Reuters, or used to be AP. That's basically my colleagues overseas, and that's how they get pictures, because you can't send a photographer from the Straits Times to every part of the world to get any news. So, yeah, I would later on talk a little bit more about ethics and the media and how it seems to be changing, and the tolerance that we have for it, which is basically zero. So, like manipulation of images and all that. We'll go into that later, but yeah, my main beat is covering news out of North Korea. I'm there 10 days a month or more. I just came back, but aside from the daily life, I do sports and Olympics and Istana and everything that you can think of, and Cirque du Soleil. But I'll talk a little bit about how even like ethics like runs across the board, like, and there's a standard that's pretty that we keep for no matter what we cover, and even in videography and all. So yeah, over to you, Tom.
Thank you. Okay, hi, I'm Tom White. I'm the non-Singaporean in this.
I'm not Singaporean.
Give up. I teach at Yale-NUS. I teach here some workshops at Objectivs. I used to teach at the ICP in New York. I've taught at Columbia Graduate School of Journalism. I'm a photographer by trade, freelance. I've run the whole gamut of photography. I've done kind of more fine arty, documentary, news stuff. I've done what we call stringing for the wire agencies, where basically you're not staff, but they pay you anyway to take your pictures and distribute them. I've done photography for newspapers, for magazines, editorial. I've run kind of the whole gamut of photography. So a bit of a jack of all trades, if you like.
Xiaobin?
Your opening statement, if you
My
have.
opening statement? For me, I mean, I can talk more about this, but for me what's interesting about photography is how we use it as a tool for communication. You know, I'm not so much interested in photography per se, I'm interested in how we use it. I'm interested in the kind of social relations around photography and around that type of communication, and essentially the discourse around that, rather than what makes a good photograph or not.
Okay, before we go to Xiaobin, Maye, I forgot to ask you your statement.
Oh, it's not really a statement because such a broad subject, but I think that there is a very, in a nutshell, I think there's a time and place for everything. Which is like, photo manipulation, setting up pictures. There's a time and place for it. And like Tom said, to me, photography is, I love photography, but it's also my main use of photography is a form of communication. And I think it's very important what we choose to communicate and how we communicate it with people. And I'm talking about pictures. So I think we'll evolve into that a little bit more later.
Hi, I'm Xiaobin. I'm a photojournalist with the Straits Times. So this is my 10th year in this first job that I was in. I graduated as a journalism major from NTU. And then for the first 2.5 years, I was with my paper, the English section, that now defunct my paper, and then I transferred over to the Straits Times. So newspaper photographers, I'm not sure. I think there's only one here. I was hoping that more of them would be here since we are working individuals who are in the industry. But got Parliament, got Sea Harbours today, so that's why I guess you don't see them. So I'm here. I think it's more of questions. I think I come with I'm not of an editorial position. So, but I do have something from my boss that she wants to convey.
Play the recording.
No, because it's a question that I think was mentioned in one of the survey questions. And Straits Times is mentioned quite a bit since a lot of scenarios were based on previous assignments.
We never say the Straits Times.
God. So
God.
I guess I can do it later. But basically, I would think that ethics in itself is really broad. And then if we wanted to break it down, every scenario, I was just sharing with Emmeline that like just talking on 10 scenarios, you can talk the whole night. So you probably have to do a part 2.
Okay, let's introduce Edwin.
Edwin.
Hi everyone, my name is Edwin Koo, and I'm a documentary photographer, or just photographer, because I don't do a lot of documentary these days. I started out 14 years ago as a newspaper photographer with this tabloid called Straits. It's meant to reduce the ad revenues for today. We succeeded for 3 years, but after that we got refolded. And then I joined the Straits Times for 2 years. So I ended my newspaper career after 5 years. I went to Nepal for 2 years, started my documentary photography journey. Decided to sort of take a step back to look at things from 3 steps back instead of being on the forefront every day. So I think those years gave me a good kind of perspective by giving myself more space. Right now, I do a mix of things. I run a photography business, a small collective of 6 photographers. I also run an annual masterclass in Nepal. And at the same time, I continue to do my personal work in the long term. So some of it you might have seen, like these works of MRT trains, transit, that's downstairs. I've done a book called Paradise from Pakistan, Swat Valley. Some works that you see on my website, like Tibetans, Maoists, still ongoing. So regarding ethics, I think if there is a kind of description, I would say that it's like you're standing on shifting sands. Why? Because I think the context always changes. Because at any one time, right, we're not just a photographer. We are also a human being. And we are also a human being in many capacities. So that's number one. And number two, the situation always changes. Not just the situation in which you are shooting, but in the situation which you are showing. So in what context do you show? How do you show it? Is it truthful? Is it truthful to a certain degree? So I think if there's one thing I would say is that the environment that we operate in is a shifting sand, but there is one constant, and that's yourself. So how do you then determine that? How do you actually get a firm foothold of yourself? So I think one of the ways is to really hear more, experience more, and then you make a rule for yourself. And that rule may apply to you, but it may not apply to the next person. So like some people will say that I'm no longer a photojournalist, I'm an artist. So it's like, you know, they change their context. But we'll go on to of course, debate that. I think it's very unfair to the word artist. Super unfair. Okay? So I think if there's one position I'm going to take is about context, and I would like to talk more about that later. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Bernice Wong. I studied sociology in NUS, so I didn't really have like a photography background. Figuring ethics out was, it depended on the situation. It was like reflexive. I do a lot of documentary work, so more so with this single mom family in Singapore. And because I have a very, very close relationship with the family, so then I face a lot of ethical dilemmas along the way. So for me, really, ethics is, reflexive, and it's like it depends on the situation.